They told you one simple rule. From childhood, literally from first grade. Be smart. Study hard. Try harder than everyone else. Get knowledge. And life will work itself out. Money will come. Respect will come. Freedom will come. Smart people always win. That's what the system says. That's what parents say over dinner. That's what every motivational book you were told to read says. That's what teachers say when they give good grades and praise you for the right answers. It was a deal. Unspoken, but very clear. You give the system your time, your years, your energy, and your youth. And the system in return gives you stability, prosperity, and a good life. Seems like a fair trade. But here's the problem. Look around you right now. The smartest people you know, are they rich? Are they free? Do they do what they want every day? Or do they work for someone else? Earn an average salary? Live from paycheck to paycheck. Wait for vacation like it's salvation. Dream about Friday like it's a breath of fresh air. Stop and think about this for real. Not abstractly. Specifically. Real people from your life. Those who studied better than everyone. Those who graduated with honors. Those who never skipped class and always turned things in on time. Where are they now? Now think about people who are actually rich. Who live the way they want. Who wake up without an alarm. Who decide for themselves what to do today. Were they the smartest in class? Were they straight A students? Did they get honor certificates and medals for academic achievement? Most likely not. And this is not a coincidence. It's not because life is unfair. Not because smart people are unlucky. Not because rich people were simply born into the right families. It's the system. And it works exactly the way it was designed to work. Intelligence and money are not the same thing. And they never were. We just weren't told about this. Deliberately. Because if we had known this from childhood, we would have asked completely different questions and made completely different choices. Let's break this down honestly. What happens to the smartest people of our generation? Trace this path step by step. First, they study better than everyone in school. It comes easily to them. They quickly grasp information, remember well, know how to think logically. Teachers love them. Parents are proud. Classmates are envious. Then they go to the best universities. Because the system says, good grades open doors to good schools. And that's true. The doors open. At university they again study better than everyone. They write the best papers. They defend the best theses. They graduate with honors. Some stay for graduate school. Some earn academic degrees. Then they find work. At prestigious companies, with beautiful job titles, with health insurance and corporate training, with an annual salary increase of a few %. And there they are. They did everything right. They followed the instructions step by step. But a good salary, how much is that exactly? The average salary of a person with a higher education in employment is a fixed amount, set by someone else. A stranger on the other side of the table during an interview. A person who evaluated your 5 years of study, your sleepless nights before exams, your thousands of hours of working on yourself, and assigned a number. That they considered fair, for themselves, not for you. And this salary grows by a maximum of a few % per year. If you're lucky. If the company had a good quarter. If the boss is in a good mood during the performance review. Really think about this. You spent 5 years of your life. The best years. When you had energy, health, time, and potential. You spent thousands of hours studying. Maybe you took out an education loan that you're still paying off. Maybe your parents invested everything they had in you. And in the end, you receive an amount assigned to you by a stranger during a 40-minute interview. Who decided that's what you're worth? That's insane. This is not just unfair, it's structurally broken. Now look at the other side of the picture. A guy who dropped out of university in his second year and started selling something online at 20 years old. He didn't get straight A's, he didn't write academic papers. He doesn't know all the theorems and doesn't remember historical dates.
But after 3 years, he can earn 3, 5, sometimes 10 times more than the best graduate of the best university. How is this even possible? How can a person without a degree, without an academic title, without recommendation letters from professors, earn more than someone who did everything by the rules? The answer is uncomfortable, but honest. Here's the reality: the education system teaches you to be a good employee, nothing more and nothing less. Memorize information. Complete tasks on time, get grades, follow instructions. Do what you're told. Don't ask unnecessary questions. It doesn't teach you to create value from scratch. It doesn't teach you to sell ideas and solutions. It doesn't teach you to take calculated risks. It doesn't teach you to build something of your own. It doesn't teach you to think like an owner rather than an executor. And this is not an accidental error in the curriculum. This is not an oversight by the Ministry of Education. This is design. Conscious, deliberate, profitable. A smart, disciplined employee is every employer's dream, a person who knows how to work, doesn't complain, completes tasks and doesn't demand too much. That's gold for business. A smart, independent entrepreneur is a competitor. A person who can create something better. Who can take away clients. Who doesn't depend on other people's decisions. That's why the system happily raises the former, and never teaches the latter.
Smart people fall into this trap harder than anyone else. Much harder. And this sounds paradoxical. But it's true. Why specifically smart people? Why do those who think best, analyze best, solve problems best? Why are they the ones who get stuck deepest in the system? Because it's hardest for them to admit that the rules of the game were written against their favor from the start. Think about it this way. You were playing a game. For a long time. Persistently. By the rules. You were winning within that game. Getting good grades, diplomas, positions, status. And suddenly someone tells you, this is the wrong game. This game doesn't lead where you thought it did. How would you react? If you invested 3 years in that game, you would probably listen. Think about it. Maybe draw conclusions. But if you invested 15 years in that game, all of school, all of university, the first years of your career, if the best years of your youth went into that game, admitting that you were playing the wrong game means admitting that all that time was spent the wrong way. That it could have been different. That you made the wrong choice. That's unbearably painful. Psychologically. And smart people don't do this. They find explanations. Rationalize. Tell themselves, I'm just not in my right place yet. I need to wait a little longer. I need one more promotion. I need to take one more course. I need to accumulate a little more experience. They keep playing by the old rules. Harder and harder. More and more diligently. Digging deeper and deeper into a system that was never created for their freedom. They work late. Take on additional projects. Sign up for professional development courses. Ask for raises at annual meetings with their manager. Wait to be noticed. Believe they'll be appreciated. That justice will ultimately prevail. And time passes. Slowly. Imperceptibly. But unstoppably. Think about this as mathematics. A smart person in employment works for 40 years. From 25 to 65. Sets aside part of their salary every month. Limits their spending. Waits for retirement. And at 65 finally receives what is called freedom. When health is already less. When energy is already less. When most of life has already been lived. A person who understood the rules of the game earlier starts building independence at 25, or 28, or 32. They make mistakes. They fall. They get up. They learn from real experience rather than in a classroom. And at 35 they have what the smart person in the system waits another 30 years for. The difference is not in intelligence. Not at all in intelligence. The difference is in what you believe. Which game you decided to play. By whose rules you live. And while smart people argue on the internet about which university is better, which specialty is more promising, which company pays 10% more, Others are already building systems and income streams that work without their constant involvement. How is that even fair? It's not fair, but it's reality. Harsh, uncomfortable, and very concrete reality. And it gets worse every year. This isn't pessimism. These are facts. Inflation eats salaries faster than employers index them. The cost of living in cities is growing. Rent is growing. Food is getting more expensive. And salaries in employment move slowly and reluctantly. You can work harder this year than last year. You can take on more projects. You can stay late into the night. But the real purchasing power of your salary can fall at the same time. Because the economy doesn't work in favor of the employed worker. That's insane. But that's exactly how the system is structured. And now add one more factor that will change everything in the coming years. Artificial intelligence is already taking on tasks that previously required high qualifications and good education. Data analysis that a highly paid analyst used to do, a program now does in seconds.
Legal documents that a lawyer used to draft, an algorithm now generates. Medical diagnoses that an experienced doctor used to make, a neural network now confirms with accuracy higher than humans. Writing texts, basic programming, financial analysis, translation, template design, data processing. All of this is already being automated right now. And this doesn't mean smart people will become unnecessary. It means something different and more important. It means the value of specialized knowledge as such is falling, because knowledge is becoming accessible to everyone, through tools, through technology, through algorithms. And what remains? What can't a machine replace? What remains is the human. The ability to build real relationships and trust. The ability to inspire people and lead them. The ability to understand what another person needs right now. The ability to sell ideas, solutions, and a vision of the future. The ability to be alive among the living. But this isn't taught in school. This isn't taught at university. Only a handful of courses and educational programs in the world are dedicated to it. Only life teaches this. Real experience, mistakes, conversations, deals, failures, and rises. If smart people are so smart, why don't they see this trap? Why do the most capable, most educated, most analytically minded people continue to follow a system that doesn't lead them to freedom? The answer is simultaneously simple and painful. Because they're comfortable, not happy, not free, not rich, specifically comfortable. Comfortable receiving a salary every month, even if it's insufficient. Because it's predictable. You know the money will come. On the 15th and 30th. Always. That's reassuring. Comfortable having a clear status. A job title on a business card. A company name you can mention at a meeting. That gives you the feeling that you're someone. That you're in your place. Comfortable knowing what to do next. The next career step is clear. The next promotion is clear. The next year is clear. No uncertainty. No anxiety from an open horizon. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Always. Without exceptions. And smart people are especially vulnerable to comfort. For a very specific reason. They know how to explain to themselves why everything is fine. They know how to build logical arguments in favor of the status quo. They know how to find reasons not to take risks. They know how to rationalize their inaction so convincingly that they believe it themselves. A less intelligent person has fewer tools for self-deception. They either do or they don't. A smart person has an entire arsenal of explanations for why now isn't the time, why they need to prepare more, why this is too risky, why it's better to wait. This is the smart trap. You're smart enough to see the risks of any step. You're educated enough to find a million reasons why this might not work. You're analytical enough to build a complete picture of everything that could go wrong. And in the end, you do nothing, because any step seems insufficiently safe, insufficiently calculated, insufficiently guaranteed. But precisely the step that seems foolish, risky, and insufficiently thought through, that's the one that most often changes everything. Understand the difference between two types of intelligence. This is key. This is what changes everything. The first type is academic intelligence. The ability to absorb and reproduce information, to solve problems you've been given, to find the right answers to questions that have already been formulated. The system teaches this. School and university teach this. Grades are given and diplomas awarded for this. The second type is financial intelligence. The ability to see opportunities where others see only situations. The ability to create value from nothing. The ability to build systems that work without you. The ability to ask the right questions rather than just give the right answers. These are different things.
Completely different. And they barely overlap. A person with high academic intelligence and low financial intelligence will spend their whole life brilliantly solving other people's problems. For someone else's salary. By someone else's rules. A person with high financial intelligence will create problems to solve, build rules, hire people to execute them. And the second can be learned. It's not innate. It's not a gift. It's a skill that develops through practice, through mistakes, through real experience, with real money and real consequences. Start learning how money moves in the real world. Not theory from a textbook, but real mechanisms. How assets work. How passive income works. How capital works. How rich people think about money in a fundamentally different way than those who work for a salary. Rich people don't think, how much will I earn this month? They think, what am I building that will bring in money in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years? That's a different frame. A different way of looking at reality. And it's accessible to anyone who decides to master it. Stop selling only your knowledge and time. Start selling results. Smart people make the same mistake over and over. They talk about what they know, about their expertise, about their experience, about their skills and competencies. Rich people talk about something different. They talk about what they can do for you, what result you'll get, what problem they'll solve, what pain they'll remove, what opportunity they'll open. This is a fundamental difference that determines everything. Not, I know marketing and have 5 years of experience, but I'll bring you 200 new clients in 3 months. Not, I can write code in 3 programming languages, but I'll automate this process and save your team 20 hours per week. Not, I'm a financial analysis specialist, but I'll find where you're losing money and plug that hole. Results sell, always, in any economy, in any situation.
Knowledge on its own doesn't. Because knowledge is now available to everyone. It's on the internet, it's in courses, it's in neural networks. Knowledge has stopped being a competitive advantage. The competitive advantage today is the ability to turn knowledge into a concrete, measurable result for a specific person. Start building assets. This is a word that needs to be understood for real, not just read. An asset is something that brings you money while you're not working, while you're sleeping, while you're on vacation, while you're doing other things. This is the opposite of a salary. A salary is money you receive while you're working. Stop working, stop receiving. That's it. Absolute dependence. An asset works differently. You invest time and effort once, create something, and then that something continues to work and bring money. An online course you recorded once and sell again and again. Content that gets views for months and years. A digital product that sells automatically. A business that works without your daily involvement. Investments that grow in value while you're doing other things. Every smart person, and here intelligence is actually an advantage, can create at least one asset based on what they already know, what they already understand. If you know something that others don't, that's already a potential asset. A course, a guide, a service. Consulting put on a systematic basis. A tool, a template. Anything that solves a real problem for a real person. This isn't fast. Honestly, it's not fast. The first year will be difficult. There will be doubts, there will be moments when you want to quit. But after a year you have something that works. Maybe a little, maybe not perfectly, but it works without you. And after 3 years this can completely change your financial reality. And finally, the most important thing. The thing smart people think about with the greatest snobbery and which is their biggest blind spot. Learn to sell. Sales is simultaneously the most underrated and the highest paid skill in the world. Smart people often treat sales with contempt. That's for those who can't do anything else. That's manipulation, that's not for me. I'm a scientist, specialist, expert, I won't do sales. And that's exactly the mindset keeping them poor. Because without the ability to sell, any expertise, any skill, any product remains invisible, needed by no one, existing in a vacuum. Sales is not manipulation. It's the ability to communicate value. It's the ability to help another person understand that what you're offering will solve their problem. It's the ability to build trust. The ability to hear what a person really needs, the ability to offer it in a way that makes them want to say yes. This is one of the most human skills that exists. And one of the most important. A person who knows how to sell will never be left without money. In any economy, in any country, in any situation. Because everywhere there are people with problems. And everywhere people are needed who know how to offer a solution in a way that others believe in. And this can be learned, not over years, over months of serious practice. Intelligence is a tool, powerful, incredibly powerful. But a tool only works if you know what to use it for. A hammer in the hands of someone who wants to screw in a bolt is useless, even if the hammer is the best in the world. Intelligence directed at becoming the best employee in someone else's system is a hammer used to drive screws. The tool is there, no results. Intelligence directed at creating your own value, at building assets, at developing financial thinking and the skill of sales, that's a different story. That's a tool used for its intended purpose. You're smart, that's a fact. Use it correctly, not to better than anyone else execute someone else's assignments, but to create your own, build your own, live on your own terms. This is possible, right now, for you.
The only thing that needs to change is not your level of knowledge, not a diploma, not experience. It's the rules of the game you've decided to play.